time being, it's impossible for me to take my family back to the UK safely. Well, for a start, the only time that I've come back to the UK is...
The royal family had survived storms before, but this was different. This was not a rumor whispered through palace corridors, or a private disagreement buried behind protocol. This was Prince William, stepping into the center of a fractured monarchy, and confirming the one decision many believed would never be spoken aloud. Harry's place had been decided, not paused, not reviewed, made permanent. Before we go deeper into what this really means for the royal family, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single update. William stopped outside the private room at Kensington Palace, his hand hovering near the door, as if the wood understood what waited on the other side. The prince had carried anger before, but this was not anger. It was duty pressing against memory, monarchy pressing against blood. Inside, aides sat with lowered voices, and one sealed briefing folder rested on the table, like a verdict no one wanted to touch. The closed door changed everything. Kensington Palace, the London home and office base linked to the Prince and Princess of Wales, mattered because decisions made there carried family weight and public consequence. William entered without ceremony, sat down, and confirmed the central decision in plain words. Prince Harry's royal status was now permanent. He would not return as a working royal, would not regain official HRH use in royal duties, and would remain outside the monarchy's inner operational circle. HRH means His Royal Highness, a formal style used to mark senior royal standing, and losing active use made the separation unmistakable. Harry was not in the room, yet every pause seemed to carry him. The Duke's absence did not make the moment easier. It made it sharper. William chose each word carefully, not like a brother winning a battle, but like a future king forcing himself to close a door he once hoped might open. The aides listened without interruption. One slid the sealed folder forward. The prince placed his palm over it but did not open it, and that gesture told the room the truth before any sentence could. The decision had passed beyond argument. Charles had heard the news first, and the king's reaction had not been cold. He had gone silent, then looked away, as though the crown itself had asked him to surrender something no father should surrender. William knew that silence would follow him. Harry's status was no longer temporary exile. It had become a fixed constitutional boundary, a line drawn to protect the monarchy's future while breaking something human behind palace walls. But before the monarchy could absorb William's words, the people closest to Harry had to face what those words truly meant. This was never only about titles. It was about two brothers who once walked behind the same coffin, a father who had spent years trying to hold a broken family together, and a prince who had built a life beyond palace walls, while still casting a long shadow inside them. William's confirmation did not create the wound. It exposed how deep it had become. Charles sat alone with the final summary in front of him, and for a long moment he did not touch it. The king removed his glasses, folded them slowly, and stared at the page, as if the words had become too heavy to read. The crown, meaning the legal and symbolic power of the monarchy, mattered here, because it could not bend every time family pain returned. Yet Harry was not only a constitutional problem, he was his son. That truth made the paper feel cruel. William carried a different kind of grief. The prince could still remember the younger brother he once shielded, the boy beside him in grief, the restless voice that filled rooms before the world turned both of them into symbols. Harry had become a public argument, but William remembered him as family, and that memory made every official sentence cut deeper. The future king knew one mistake could reopen years of conflict, yet one hard decision could leave a brother outside forever. A private note from the king's office revealed the hidden compromise that had almost survived. The note, recorded in a confidential palace account, confirmed that reconciliation had been considered, but only outside formal royal duty. Royal duty means the public work carried out on behalf of the monarch, including ceremonies, visits, and official appearances. That distinction mattered, because it offered Harry affection without authority, family warmth without institutional power. It was the palace's narrow bridge, and even that bridge trembled. Charles wanted the bridge to hold. William feared it would collapse under pressure. The king understood that restoring Harry's role could look merciful, but the prince saw the danger behind mercy. Questions of loyalty, hierarchy, and trust returning at the worst possible moment. Every future invitation would be examined. Every smile would be decoded. Every absence would become another wound. The room held its breath around a truth no one wanted to name. Harry could be loved without being restored. William could grieve without retreating. Charles could ache for his son and still protect the monarchy. But one past incident had changed the palace's thinking forever. And to understand why the prince spoke with such finality, the story must return to the hidden moment that turned hesitation into permanence. Every royal crisis has a moment that is remembered differently behind closed doors. Not the headline, not the public interview, not the polished statement issued the next morning. The real turning point was quieter, sharper, and far more damaging. It happened during a private Windsor reconciliation meeting, when one sentence changed the room, and everyone inside understood that trust had not bent. It had broken. Charles walked into that meeting with hope still alive in him. The king did not arrive as a ruler looking to punish. He arrived as a father trying to save what remained. Windsor Castle, the royal residence often used for private family meetings and formal royal business, mattered because anything settled there carried the weight of both home and institution. Harry had been offered a limited ceremonial path back, meaning a carefully controlled return, for selected royal occasions, without full public duties or decision-making power. It was not everything, but it was something. William understood why the offer existed. The prince knew the monarchy needed peace, and he knew Charles needed to believe his younger son was not lost forever. Yet the future king also understood the danger. A limited return could confuse the public, unsettle staff, and make every future appearance look like the start of a full restoration. Harry's place had to be clear, because unclear roles had already caused too much damage. Still, William stayed quiet at first. He wanted the meeting to work. Part of him needed it to work. Harry listened, and for a moment, the room almost softened. The Duke heard his father speak gently about family, appearances, and dignity. Charles told him there could be a way to stand beside them on certain days without stepping back into the center of royal life. Then Harry made the demand that changed everything. He wanted written protection from future palace briefings. Palace briefings are private guidance or background messages given to shape how royal matters are understood, and his request meant he no longer trusted the machine around his own family. William went still. The prince did not shout. He did not interrupt. According to a documented account, later written by an aide present outside the room, he pushed back his chair only slightly, then forced himself to remain seated. That small movement revealed more than anger. It revealed recognition. Harry was not asking for trust. He was asking for protection from people he believed might betray him again. Charles heard it too, and the king's hope began to thin. The meeting collapsed without a dramatic exit. Harry remained guarded. William remained silent. Charles kept looking between his sons, as if searching for the boys they used to be, but those boys were gone. From that moment, the palace no longer saw hesitation as mercy. It saw hesitation as risk, and before the final decision could be locked, William asked for one last face-to-face conversation. Not ceremonial, not softened by aides, and not protected by palace language. When the door closed, there were no courtiers to translate pain into protocol. No private secretaries, no carefully drafted phrases. Just William, Charles, and the silence between them. The future king had come to say what the father could barely accept. Harry's name sat between them like a wound neither man could touch without bleeding. William stood first, not because he wanted control, but because sitting still had become impossible. The prince had watched the Windsor meeting fail, and he knew Charles still hoped time might soften what trust had hardened. The king wanted a family solution. He wanted room for forgiveness, room for birthdays, room for one day when Harry might stand near them without the whole nation reading it as a royal return. But William had reached a colder conclusion. The monarchy needed a line that could not move every time grief entered the room. Charles looked at him with the exhaustion of a father who had already lost too much. The crown, meaning the legal and symbolic authority of the monarchy, mattered because it had to survive beyond private heartbreak. A constitutional line means a clear boundary about who serves the institution and who does not. And William believed that boundary had to be drawn before his own reign began. The next reign meant the future period, when he would one day become king. and he refused to inherit uncertainty, dressed up as mercy. Charles said Harry was still his son. The words landed softly, but they struck hard. William answered that the crown could not be governed by grief, and the room seemed to tighten around both men. The prince did not say it with cruelty. His voice cracked as he said it, and that break revealed the truth beneath his firmness. He was not trying to erase Harry. He was trying to stop the monarchy from being pulled apart by the same wound again and again. Charles reached for the pen, then stopped. The king's hand hovered over the page while William watched him fight between fatherhood and duty. A private record later described the exchange as the hardest conversation before the final confirmation, taken from a confidential account prepared for the king's office. That account revealed how close Charles came to delaying the decision. But delay was exactly what William feared. Delay would keep Harry suspended between exile and return, and every future ceremony would become another battlefield. William finally said the sentence, neither man could escape. Harry's royal status had to be permanent before the next reign began. Charles set the pen down without signing. The sound was small, but its meaning was enormous. For one terrifying moment, nothing moved. Then the king looked at his son and asked who truly held the authority to make the final call. The answer would reveal that this was not merely a family decision, but a struggle over the machinery of monarchy itself. The monarchy does not always strike with thunder. Sometimes it moves with a file placed on a polished table, a signature delayed by 3 seconds, a private secretary lowering his voice before delivering the line that changes everything. Harry's permanent status was not born from anger alone. It was shaped by power, precedent, and the cold architecture of survival. Charles held the throne, but William held the future. That was the brutal balance inside the palace, and everyone near the decision understood it. The throne means the position and authority of the reigning monarch, while a future reign means the period when the next monarch will one day rule. The king could decide the present, but the prince would inherit the consequences. That mattered, because Harry's unresolved status would not vanish with time. It would become William's problem, William's risk, and William's burden. Palace advisors had warned that uncertainty was now more dangerous than distance. A confidential recommendation, prepared for the king's office, and later described in a documented internal account, framed Harry's position with a phrase that stunned even seasoned courtiers: permanent external status. External status meant Harry remained part of the family by blood, but outside the working structure of royal service. The phrase sounded cold, because it was meant to be cold. It created a wall where emotion had left too many open doors. A senior courtier watched Charles read the recommendation, and the man later recalled, in a private interview recorded for palace archives, that the king's hand tightened around the page before he spoke. Charles did not rage. He did not reject it. He simply looked at the wording as if each line took something personal from him. The monarch knew why the advisors had written it. A role left half open could confuse the public, unsettle staff, and pull the family back into the same fight whenever Harry appeared beside them. William stood apart afterward, silent and pale. The prince had helped create the certainty the palace demanded, but certainty did not comfort him. It cut him. He understood that no future ceremonial invitation could be read as a path back into working, royal life. A ceremonial invitation means an appearance at a formal family or national event, not a return to official royal duties. That warning mattered because one wave from a balcony, one seat in a chapel, one public smile could be turned into a signal the palace never intended to send. The decision moved quietly from one desk to another, but its force grew with every closed folder. Charles had not stopped loving Harry. William had not stopped remembering him. Yet the machinery of monarchy had chosen clarity over longing, and once the first calls went out to those who had to live with the consequences, the fallout began faster than anyone inside the palace expected. Some news explodes. Some news drains the air from a room. When Harry's permanent status reached the people closest to the monarchy, there was no shouting at first, only silence. The kind that arrives when everyone knows the decision cannot be pulled back. A door had closed, but the sound of it seemed to travel through every corridor connected to the royal name. Palace offices moved quickly once the instruction became real. Staff updated internal guidance, meaning the private working notes that tell aides how to describe royal roles, invitations, and public duties without creating confusion. That mattered, because every word attached to Harry could become a signal. If the palace called him temporary, people would expect a return. If the palace called him distant, people would ask whether distance could shrink. So the new language was sharp and final. Harry was family, but he was not part of the working royal structure. Charles received the final confirmation alone. The king held the page in both hands, folded it once, then folded it again, as if making it smaller might make it less painful. He placed it beside him, without speaking. The monarchy had gained clarity, but the father had lost the last official shape of hope. That was why the moment mattered. A public institution had solved a problem, while a private man had been forced to accept a loss. William heard the instructions had gone out and closed his eyes. The prince did not ask for celebration. He did not ask whether the palace had praised his firmness. He simply absorbed the truth of what he had confirmed. Harry would not return as a working royal. Harry would not be restored through ceremony. Harry would not be held in reserve for some softer future. The future king had protected the line of succession, meaning the order in which royals inherit the throne, but the cost was carved into his own family. A private call was then placed to Harry's side, and everyone waited for the response that could shake the palace all over again. The call, recorded in a confidential communications log, did not offer an appeal process. That detail stunned even those who expected firmness. An appeal process would mean a formal route to challenge or review the decision, but no such path was given. The decision was not framed as punishment. It was framed as permanence. Harry's silence became the loudest sound around the palace. Charles feared anger. William feared a public counterstrike. Aides feared a single sentence from across the ocean could turn the new clarity into another storm. Yet beneath all that fear, one thing became painfully clear. The decision had left the room and entered reality. William knew he could not let the moment harden without one last conversation. The prince requested another private meeting with Charles before the announcement became public memory, because the turning point would not come from advisors, files, or official language. It would come from one father and one son, sitting together, with no one left to blame. After the machinery of monarchy had done its work, only the human cost remained. Charles and William sat together, without aides, without prepared lines, without the protection of office. For the first time, the decision was not discussed as strategy. It was spoken of as loss. And in that room, the king finally understood that his son had not chosen power over family. He had chosen duty over hope. Charles did not reach for a file this time. The king had seen enough paper, enough careful language, enough cold phrases pretending not to hurt. William sat opposite him, with the stillness of someone who had already spent every argument he had. The crown, meaning the royal authority and public duty carried by the monarch, mattered because it could not afford uncertainty around Harry's role. Yet that same crown had forced a father and son to speak about family as if it were a matter of national risk. William waited for Charles to begin, and the silence said more than any formal briefing could. The prince knew this meeting was not about reversing the decision. It was about surviving it. The king finally admitted that part of him had kept waiting for Harry to come back as he once was. Not the public figure, not the distant critic, but the son, who still belonged inside the family's old rhythm. William lowered his eyes and said that man no longer existed inside the institution. Even if he still existed in memory, Charles absorbed the words without protest. The king looked wounded, but not surprised. He understood then why permanence had become the only mercy left. False hope would keep reopening the wound, pulling Harry toward a door that could never fully open, while forcing William to defend the same boundary again and again. That mattered, because a monarchy cannot live inside emotional confusion forever. It must tell the public who serves, who stands aside, and why the difference cannot keep shifting. William's voice fell almost to a whisper. The prince told his father that loving Harry could not mean leaving the monarchy uncertain. He revealed, in a recorded private conversation, later summarized for the king's office, that he had never wanted to be the one to say it publicly. He had feared the moment. He had dreaded the headline. But he knew silence would make the monarchy look afraid, and fear would invite more pressure. Charles nodded slowly, and the gesture carried surrender without defeat. The king had not stopped loving Harry. William had not stopped grieving the brother he lost to distance, anger, and time. But both men finally understood the same truth. The decision was no longer a weapon. It was an ending. Outside that private grief, the palace prepared its public face. Aides readied statements. Phones began to move. Once the words crossed the palace gates, the private pain became a national spectacle. By morning, the monarchy's private decision had become public property. Screens flashed. Phones lit up. Commentators leaned forward, as if history had shifted in real time. For some, William's confirmation was the necessary end to years of uncertainty. For others, it felt like the final punishment of a prince already far from home. Britain did not simply hear the news. It argued with it. William watched the coverage for less than a minute before turning it off. The prince could face duty, but he could not sit there while Harry was reduced to a panel argument, a headline, a symbol for strangers to pull apart. Major broadcasters framed the confirmation as the end of Harry's possible royal return, and that mattered, because television turns private pain into national meaning. A broadcaster's framing means the way presenters shape a story for the public, and in this case, the message was brutal. The door was closed, and William had been the one to say it. Charles sat quietly, as aides summarized the reaction. The king did not ask which side was winning. He asked how Harry was being spoken about. That question revealed the wound beneath the crown. Palace communications tried to keep the tone formal, using measured language about roles, duties, and future stability. Palace communications means the official team that shapes messages released by the royal household, and their challenge was clear. They had to make the decision sound controlled, while the country felt the heartbreak inside it. The front page arrived like a strike. One newspaper printed the stark headline, "No Way Back," beside a split image of William and Harry walking in opposite directions. The phrase became the public symbol of the moment, cold enough to travel fast, and simple enough to wound deeply. People did not need the whole palace file. They understood the image. Two brothers, two paths, one monarchy choosing which path it could survive. Outside Buckingham Palace, a small crowd gathered beneath a sky that seemed to hold its breath. Some held signs supporting William, calling the decision strong and necessary. Others quietly defended Harry, saying a son should never be sealed out forever. Buckingham Palace, the monarch's main London headquarters, mattered because crowds gathered there when private royal choices become national history. Every face outside the gates carried a different version of the same question. Had the monarchy protected itself, or had it hardened beyond repair? Charles heard the crowd had formed and closed his eyes. William heard the same report and said nothing. The world had judged the decision before the family had fully survived it. Yet when the noise finally faded, what remained was not the headline, not the broadcasters, not the crowd at the gates. What remained was the meaning of what had been lost. In the end, the shocking news was not only that Harry's royal status had become permanent, it was that everyone involved finally stopped pretending time would repair what duty could not. William had spoken the sentence the monarchy had avoided. Charles had accepted the pain he could not undo. Harry remained family, but no longer part of the crown's future machinery. The verdict was final. William understood that the decision would follow him for the rest of his life. The prince had not simply confirmed a palace update. He had drawn a boundary around the next chapter of the monarchy. The crown, meaning the public authority, duty, and symbolic weight carried by the royal institution, mattered because it could not survive on half-promises and emotional confusion. Harry's place was now clear. He remained connected by blood, memory, and family history, but permanently separated from royal duty. Charles carried a quieter wound. The king was not grieving the existence of his son. He was grieving the royal version of Harry he could no longer restore. That loss was sharper because it had no ceremony, no final embrace, no single moment where the pain could be neatly placed and left behind. A working royal means a family member who officially represents the monarch through public duties, ceremonies, and national service. Harry no longer held that future, and Charles knew the monarchy had gained stability while Abyss's father lost the last shape of an old hope. William found no victory in the silence that followed. The future king had protected the institution, but the protection came with suffering. He had proved he could make the hard decision. He had proved he could separate love from duty. Yet the cost was written across every pause. Harry's absence became the final symbol. The Duke did not need to be in the room for everyone to feel what had changed. His name alone carried the weight of the door that would not open again. The true revelation was not cruelty, it was permanence. Permanence gave the monarchy a clear path forward, but it also ended the fantasy of a simple family reunion. No future invitation could erase the line. No public smile could undo the decision. No soft statement could turn distance back into duty. William's confirmation meant the monarchy chose certainty over nostalgia, duty over sentiment, and survival over the fragile dream of restoring the past. Charles accepted that truth with sorrow. William carried it with control. Harry remained outside the working life of the crown, not erased, not forgotten, but no longer waiting in the shadow of a possible return. There was no further door waiting to open, no hidden reversal, no unfinished chapter. William's confirmation marked the end of uncertainty, and with it, the royal family entered a colder but clearer future. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you in next one.